Do you want to know how to homeschool a child who hates learning? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, and about child development, education, and homeschool, because I homeschooled my 4 children. In this video, we are going to be looking through the lens of self-government as we discuss how to help someone go from hate of learning to love of learning. In this video, we're going to be talking about that hate of learning, how it happens, and then what to do about it. What can we do in our home culture to make that shift or change of heart that we're looking for? I think when we decide to homeschool, every single parent has this hope for these beautiful magic moments when sparks are flying and there's smiles and laughter and industrious children and parents spreading their wisdom on a table before the children, and it's just magic, right? And then we do it. We get into homeschool and we recognize they don't want to do it because they have a bad association with it. Now, with my 4 children, I homeschooled them all the way along. I was a treatment foster care parent for troubled teens. Those children had to go to the public school, but in the summers I would help them with their homeschool, so they kind of went back and forth. But my children didn't have to do that transition, so they didn't really develop that hate of learning to begin with. But many times, still children, students, youth, whoever it is, they have a hate of learning that has been taught to them by the school. So maybe they weren't challenged at school, so then they think it's boring. Maybe there was too much busy work. Boring. Maybe it just seems like check off list and they want to really be engaged. Nothing is making the sparks fly. They're not inspired. It's all just requirements. So the last thing you want to do is perpetuate that process. Did you know there's no rule that says you have to do exactly what the schools do at your house if you're going to homeschool? In fact, you really shouldn't. For many years, I was the liaison for the UHEA, which was an organization in my state that was for homeschoolers who were starting to homeschool. I don't do it any longer, but they would be referred to me. Once they were pulling out of school, they would be referred to me and I would talk to them about schooling. And you know what I said to them? I said, you know what, you're just beginning. It's all about your home culture. It's not about academics. So please don't worry about academics. You can learn everything K through 12 in 4 years if you love learning. They would gasp, what, 4 years? And I would say, yeah, you just have to love learning. So that's the power of the love of learning, is that it actually fuels all of the education and it makes it fly or go so fast. Don't worry about being behind at first. Just get the love of learning going and then everything else will catch up in time. Also, there's really no timeline for education. If you're homeschooling, you can take till they're 20. Or you know what, you just tell them, hey, we didn't get through all of those maths that you normally would, but no big deal. They've got these review classes in college and you can just take them. You know, there's really not a big pressure because someone can learn for the rest of their life. So long as they're smart enough to do the things to get a job, they can enter school or exit school at whim later if they want to pursue their college education. And they don't even need that because once they learn how to learn at your house, they can learn whatever they want, whenever they want. That is the spirit of homeschooling. And a person can have that no matter how old they are. So what do you do if they have had a hate of learning? Well, what I told the parents who would call me regularly is, how about you take a couple of months, maybe even the rest of this school year, like if they're pulling out halfway, and just read as a family. Just read and discuss and then go on field trips every Friday. Have a Friday field trip day. We call it Field Trip Friday in our family. Do something cool. Go see the birds migrate, hike something, go to a museum, go to a water park, make kites. Do something that's entertaining and that brings you together. And the rest of the days, have family devotion, read books, and discuss. And if you want to, take on projects that have to do with the things that you're reading and discussing. Let them know that all learning is really just reading and discussing. It's just taking in information, discussing, and decide what you think about it. Get to the paper writing and all that kind of stuff a bit later, because that stuff can come in time. If you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know I've spoken multiple times about the phases of learning. These phases of learning are the phases that a person goes through in their learning journey, and they were identified by Oliver DeMille in his book, A Thomas Jefferson Education. So I talk more about these phases on my homeschooling website, which is heartofhomeschool.net. This is different than my parenting website, which is usually referenced here on this channel. This particular website, heartofhomeschool.net, is dedicated to helping parents learn how to homeschool, and everything on there is completely free. So there are phases of learning. What are the phases of learning? They are core phase, which is roughly ages 0 to 8. Love of learning phase, listen to that, which is roughly ages 8 to 12. And then scholar phase, which is roughly ages 12 to 18. I mean, any of them, DeMille would always say, give or take 100 years, because some people never go through all the phases of learning. Those are just the 3 phases that happen in your home. After that comes depth phase, mission phase, and impact phase. Some people never ever get to those other phases because they don't complete the first 3 phases of education. When a person is in core phase, they learn what's right and wrong, good and bad, true and false, and they learn it by doing work and play. So they learn the difference between those 2 things. They learn about who they are, their identity, their family culture and identity are very important during this time. So you teach them to love being together as a family, and you teach them to communicate. No matter how old your child is that may hate homeschool or any learning right now, you pretty much ought to plan on starting at core phase. Even if they're 12, even if they're 17, start at core phase. Start at, who are you? Who am I? What are our roles? What are we even doing here? What do we want our family dynamic to be like? How should we communicate? How should we solve our problems? How are we going to check up on our relationships to make sure that things are going in a good direction? All of those questions can actually be answered with the Teaching Self-Government Parenting program. So there are books that I've written. Now I've written 11. These are just 2 books, but these are the ones I would start with if I were you. So this one, Roles, is a great book about a family who has a hard time understanding who they are to each other, and you see what it does to their family and how they correct it by getting the roles on the right in the right place. Then this book, Parenting a House United, is my most popular book. This is the one that basically details how to teach your children the skills and principles of self-government so that they will learn self-mastery, and ends up leading to school follow-through on their own because they learn how to give themselves instructions and know answers when it comes to distractions and things like that. Learning how to govern yourself is going to be something that everybody will hold on to. It should also make it so you don't need to nag your children. I'm going to be kind of bold here and say at first, please don't worry about a curriculum. Please don't. There are some curriculums that might help you. I'm the type of person that liked to make my own things, but one of the most important things you can learn at first, which you will learn at heartofhomeschool.net, is how people learn. Learn how people learn. Learn what happens through all of those phases of learning and how to talk to your children about them so that they take ownership over their own learning. It could be that your child hates learning right now because he thinks it's something that's happening to him and he doesn't really have a proper investment with it yet. Now, in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting system, there is a meeting that we have weekly that can impact a successful homeschool. And that meeting is called the mentor meeting. It's a weekly mentor meeting that I would have with my children. And each day I also had a daily mentor meeting to follow up on that weekly mentor meeting to make sure that we were following through with what the child wanted to learn. Learning needs to be inspiring. The more that you require, the less they will be inspired to want to learn. So remember, inspire, not require. And there's even more that you can learn by going to heartofhomeschool.net. So go to that website now. I'll see you there.